Hey there, I'm Dave. Welcome to my micro channel here on BookTube, where I tend to waffle on about vintage paperbacks and other sundry printed materials. It's been a couple of years since I've posted. I think it was December of 2022 was the last video, so I've kind of gotten out of the groove, kind of gotten rusty, but over the past few months I've been watching some YouTube videos, some great channels out there, newer channels like Pulp Mortem, the Book Graveyard, Paperback Warrior. Some of these are not new, but new to me. Uh, Sci-Fi Scavenger's another good one. Criminale, of course, I think everybody knows him. And it's kind of reignited that spark, gotten me back into talking about or wanting to talk about and share the books that I've been reading, because I haven't stopped reading at all. I've been consuming as many vintage paperbacks and others that I normally, on a normal basis, but I haven't really talked about them much. I haven't done any reviews. It's just been kind of keeping it to myself, but they've really kind of, again, like I say, relit that fire. So here I am back, and I thought what better way to start back than with a book haul from quite a number of things that I picked up over the month of December. And of course, I keep looking down because I got a bunch of stacks. So what I'm going to have to probably do, so you don't have to be subjected to the glare off my receding headline or hairline as I bend down and try to pick these up and share them with you. I'm going to do some editing just so you're aware ahead of time. But well, I thought I'd get started with a little bit of some of the gifts that I got over the holidays, and of course for my birthday too, which was also in the month of December. And first up is that birthday gift. This is Jonathan North's Napoleon's Invasion of Egypt, an eyewitness history. Now, my wife got me this for my birthday, and you can see him already started about halfway through. And so, man, it must have been Thanksgiving of 2023. I went and saw the Joaquin Phoenix film Napoleon, and again, yeah, that totally suffered from lack of historical accuracy. But one of the points in the film that kind of intrigued me was when he was in Egypt. And I've read a ton about Napoleon's European campaigns, but I really know very little about his time spent in Egypt. So I added this to my wish list, and lo and behold, here it is. Now, this is an eyewitness history, and those tend to be, for me, a hit or miss, because they rely primarily on regurgitating primary sources, just with a wraparound layer of context. This so far has been pretty good. So I will look forward to speaking more about this in my probably January wrap up. I assume I will be finished here in the next couple of days. But so yeah, Napoleon's Invasion of Egypt, very interesting. So again, for Christmas, I got a few other things. This is Geezer Butler's Into the Void, which is a autobiography of sorts by Black Sabbath bass player Geezer Butler. He is one of my favorite bass players of all time. And as you can see behind me, I'm still not in the library, still working on that. One of these years, I suspect we'll be finished with that. But in the meantime, I'm down in the music room, and that's my other big passion. And also reading about the musicians that I really enjoy listening to is very interesting for me as well. So very excited to pick up Geezer's thoughts on his time getting into music and getting into Black Sabbath, and how that all took off. So very interested in that one. And along those similar lines, this is Kathy Valentine's All I Ever Wanted. Now, Kathy is a bass player from the Go-Go's. Not one of my favorite bass players of all time. I mean, she's definitely talented and great and all that, but she just doesn't transcend to that next level of favorite. I've only got a couple of them anyway, but I think I might, like many others, just be a fan of the music of the Go-Go's when they first came around. I really dug their popish sort of punk, well, punkish sort of pop maybe. Anyway, so this was a very interesting find for me when she put this book out, and looking forward to hearing about her time in the Go-Go's. This one, I'm not really sure where I heard about this. This is Jared Ross Hardisty's Mutiny on the Rising Sun. And this is not a novel, is a nonfiction work about a sailing ship called the Rising Sun back during the late days of slavery in the United States. This is about the Rising Sun was a smuggler essentially, and it was it plied the black market trade, slave trade, various other nefarious economic endeavors. And at one point, it suffered a mutiny down off the coast of South America. That was in the process of hauling a cargo of chocolate, I believe. And so it's a minor kind of event in history, but I think this author, based on his previous works, he's more of a social historian who's focused on slavery and its impacts and its effects. And so I have a feeling that a lot of this book is going to be talking about that in the greater context of this micro event. But still, I just thought it was an interesting bit of maritime history that I wanted to learn more about. So added this to the list, and here it is. And finally, in terms of gifts, is Martin Connolly's The Murder of Prime Minister Spencer Perceval. Now, I read about this event. I had no idea about it. I was reading something about the War of 1812. I don't remember what. And there was a kind of a footnote about Spencer Perceval, the British Prime Minister, being assassinated in the year 1812. And the more I looked into that, I realized that he was the only prime minister ever assassinated. So that kind of intrigued me. I wanted to learn more about that. Found this book, added to the list, and now here it is. So looking forward to reading that. All right, so that wraps up the gift giving activities. Now, I did purchase one book off of Amazon in December. I know I try to avoid Amazon for books, but I saw a post. I'm in a men's adventure fiction Facebook group, and I saw a post from a guy named Dennis Bear promoting his latest book in a series. What was it called? The Argo. Hold on, bear with me. Alto group. All right. So in the summary of that particular book, he was talking about the Alto group is this kind of mercenary band, and they were kind of going from place to place across the globe, and one of the places he mentioned was northern Michigan. And I thought that was kind of an odd place for a globe-trotting mercenary group to be. Looking more into this, the author is a local Michigan author here, so I'm totally supporting local authors and independent authors. And so I went and looked for his the first book in that series, and it is on Amazon. It's called The Giant, independently published, obviously. This is the first in, I think, so far a 4-book series, and it's an alternate history, as it says down here, but it involves this mercenary group. That's all I know. That's all it took for me to be interested in this. So I'll give this a shot, and hopefully I enjoy the series and want to continue on with it. But yeah, The Giant by Dennis Bear. All right, so I've got to reach down here for one of these piles, so I will be right back. All right, back seated upright. I've got a new pile here. These are the things that I picked up at a library sale we had in a town a little ways away called Okemos, and they're typically their sales for me anyway have been hit or miss because they usually show up like whenever. This time around, just the way schedules had it, I got there a little bit earlier than I normally do on Saturday, which is the second day of the sale. And I was pleasantly surprised by what they had this time. Usually sci-fi and fantasy is just wiped out, but not this time, so that was exciting. First up, I picked up David Drake's The Jungle. Now, I have never read anything by David Drake, but from just listening to several other booktubers, I have come to understand that he is one of the foremost, I guess, authors in military sci-fi, and that's a subgenre that I'm really looking forward to getting into. I haven't read much at all, not recently, way back when I was a teenager, 12, 13, I did read some, but I've forgotten everything about it. I can't remember what I read. But so yeah, I thought I would pick something up by David Drake if I saw it, and this is it. This is apparently a novel that was, or a novella that was written in the same universe as Henry Kuttner's Clash by Night. And of course, I don't know Henry Kuttner either. So this book also includes that Clash by Night in here. So very interested in picking this one, or getting this one started eventually in 2025. As I mentioned before, I'm a fan of Michigan authors, and an author that I am looking to read more from is Diana Paxson, which, you know, of course, yeah, she's total West Coast, but she was born in Detroit, so to me, Michigan author. This is the second in her Frost Flower and Thorn series. This is Frost Flower and Windborn. I have not read the first one yet. I do have it, but I came across this one just conveniently. It was the second, so picked it up, and looking forward to getting going on that one at some time. She also has a world that she's created called Westria, and here is a 7th book in that series. This is The Jewel of Fire. Again, I haven't read anything in the Westria setting yet, so I'm just going to pick these up as they come along. This one, also by Diana, is, I believe, a standalone. This is The Paradise Tree. I'll have to check, and again, I looked once, but it's been like more than a minute since I picked this up, so I can't remember whether or not this is part of a series, but I think it's a standalone. So again, looking forward to reading this, because I just kind of eventually want to get everything I can by Diana, just because she's local, is local. All right, so Men's Adventure now. This one is a series that I have never read before. This is number 4 in that series, the Killers series, as a matter of fact. This is Fatal Friends. So I believe this is like a World War II covert operations espionage sort of series, just based on what I have heard about it online. And yeah, so interested in maybe trying to find the first one before I hit that one up. Oh, missed this one. Here's another Diana Paxson Westria novel. This is Silverhair the Wanderer. Not sure where this one fits in, but again, once I get things in order, I will tackle that series. All right, here's an author that I've never heard of, and a series that I never heard of. This is book 1 of the Song of Naga Teot. This is Teot's War by Heather Gladney. Is it Gladney? Heather Gladney. Don't know anything about her, don't know anything about the series, but I thought the cover was quite interesting. I don't know if that's science fantasy or just fantasy. Either way, got my interest. All right, now this one, I'd heard of the original novel, which was called, published as The Damned Innocents. This is Richard Neely, and this is an edition retitled Dirty Hands, based on the novel based on the movie that the novel was based upon. So this is the novelization of the movie of the novel. I don't know how much they've changed it from the original Damned Innocents, but you know, it's got some movie tie-in photos there. I don't know, Men's Adventure, thought I'd give it a try. And this last one, if you've watched any of my other videos, I've mentioned this before. If you're new, I'll mention it again. One of the reading goals or sub-targets I have are the Daw Yellow Spines. I'm trying to read as many of those as I come across. And this was just one that happened to be there. This, again, by an author that I don't know anything about, Mark S. Geston, The Siege of Wonder. And this is Daw Collector's number 258. Simply picked it up for that. It's a Daw, haven't read it, don't know it, so gotta read it. And that's all I got at that library sale. I'm gonna move on to my local bookstore here, used bookstore, and be right back. All right, so I got an opportunity to spend about an hour in my local used bookstore, which is more of a used media store. It's kind of like a hole-in-the-wall, half-price books. They've got movies, records, CDs, comic books, plastic model kits, magazines, and of course books. And great stuff. Not always in the greatest condition, but they just got a ton of stuff to go through, and you can spend a lot of time there, and I usually do. But I walked away with quite a few here that I needed to, just was compelled to add to the TBR pile, which is nearly falling over. But the first one up is an adult Western. This is Buckskin number 42, Morgan's Squaw. That's by Kit Dalton. Now, I haven't really read, up until this point, a lot of Westerns. Started out with the Diamondback series by Pike Bishop, which was my first exposure to Westerns. Really enjoyed that. I recently read Long Arm number 1, and that was okay. It wasn't as, I didn't think it was enjoyable as the Diamondback series, but again, hearing a lot of guys online here talk about some of the other Western series, I thought I would kind of expand into some others as I came across them, and this happened to hit this one over at the bookstore, and so added it to the collection. Looking forward to reading that at some point. Another thing that I tend to focus on, for example, with the Daw series, is focusing on specific publishers. And one of those that I've found that I typically enjoy, the books that they have put out, is Rock. And so I found this one. This is one of the earlier Rocks. This is Chicago Red. I believe it's a post-apocalyptic story. Yeah. By R.M. Melek. However you say that. And again, it's a Rock book. And so I came across this, just picked it up based on that, and looking forward to giving that a shot. Here's a series, a men's adventure series that I am familiar with. I've read a few so far. This is number 61 in the Executioner series, Tiger War. So this is kind of a newer one, I think. This was in the 90s, maybe? No, 84. So interesting. The cover just looks a little bit newer than that. Anyway, so yeah, the Executioner. What can you say? Just good fun. And here's a series that I came across. I don't remember where I came across this, but it is one that I definitely want to make a point of reading in 2025. And this is the Lost Regiment series by William Forstchen. This is number 8, Men of War. So this is the last in the series. Rally Cry, I believe, is the first book, which I don't have yet, but it's on my list to pick up as soon as I can, because that is a priority for 2025. This is a kind of a time travel alternate history series where a Civil War regiment, I think of Union soldiers, gets transported various places throughout time, and they've got crap to deal with. So I don't know, that kind of stuff just really gets me going. So I want to give that one a shot. Came across this one. I don't know anything about it or the author. This is The Khan's Persuasion by Cynthia Felice. This is looks like a sci-fantasy sort of book. Again, don't know anything about it. It's on Ace. In fact, Ace Science Fiction, it says. Yeah, don't know anything about the author, don't know anything about the book, but it just looked kind of interesting. Now this one, again, this was a cover buy, just because the cover is awesome. This is When the Gods Returned by Charles Beamer. Who painted that cover? Daryl Sweet. Yep, Daryl K. Sweet. Just awesome cover. I'm guessing fantasy, maybe sci-fantasy. I don't know. It's Del Rey fantasy, so we'll see. But yeah, I don't know. Don't know anything about the author either. Just something I wanted to pick up and give it a shot. This one, again, don't know anything about the author. This is Warpath by Tony Daniel. And what got me on this book, not only was the cover kind of interesting, but it's a story about pre-contact Native Americans have discovered interstellar travel, and they basically conquer the universe. And so what's there not to like about that? So definitely something interesting. This is a tour, and yeah, I'm going to read this kind of as soon as I can here in 2025. This is a start to a series that I have not heard of, and by an author I've not heard of. This is The Former King by Adam Corby. This is a Timescape book. And this says it is Canto 1 of the Doom Quest of Era Karn. So, I don't know. Sounds fantasy to me. give it a try. All right, this is a series I have, book 2 or book 3, I can't remember. This is Asa Drake's Beasts of Hell. This is definitely a series I want to focus on in 2025 as well. This is the first book of that series, so was very happy to find this in very, very decent condition. I mean, there's some creasing to the cover and that to the spine, but yeah. Anyway, Questar, definitely want to get going on this one in 2025. Here's another men's adventure series that I don't know anything about. I think I saw this in one of the Paperback Warriors walkthroughs when he's at one of the used bookstores that he goes to. This is number 3 in the SOBs series, Butchers of Eden by Jack Hild. Again, don't know anything about it. I might actually hang on till I come across number 1. I think the series is small enough that I don't want to just jump in the middle somewhere. So yeah, definitely it's worth checking out, I think. Now here's an author that I am familiar with. I have a couple of her different series, books in her different series there, kind of later in the series, so I need to start picking off the first book so I can get those going. And this first one up is, and it's a DAW, so I had to pick it up anyway. This is C.G. Cherry's The Fated Son Kesrith. I don't remember if this is the Marican War series. Not quite sure which particular series this is, but this is book 1, and I'm definitely going to give this a shot. I don't know, maybe 2025. I don't know. We'll see. But that's definitely on the list. Watching that pile there because it is precarious. And another one of C.J. Cherry's series, and I definitely don't remember the name of this one because, again, it's been a minute. Also a DAW. This is Gate of Ivrill. And this is book 1 in whichever particular series it happens to be. I want to say is it Morgaine? Not quite sure. But, and this is not a first printing, unfortunately. I think this is a third printing. Yeah, first printing was March 76. This is definitely a third, so it covers a little different, I think, than the original. But still a DAW. This is number 1375. The previous one was number 300, so put that on the floor before it collapses. So that's all I got from my local bookstore. We also went up earlier this month to a little town that's of no significance called Cauquelin, and we've been there, so, through there a few times, and there's a bookstore that I've seen every time we've driven by and never stopped in. And so I was really excited to get the opportunity to get in there this time, and expectations were not quite met. I mean, it was a nice store. It was well curated and well organized, but they just didn't have much that was of my particular interest. What I did find, however, was another one of those Lost Regiment books, number 6. Still not number 1, but this is Never Sound Retreat. So I got 2 out of the 8, just not ready to start yet until I come across number 1, which I hope to do this year. And then here's another adult Western that I think I heard somebody talk about. It might have been Book Graveyard. This is number 24 in the Easy Company series. This is And the Cow Country Queen by John Wesley Howard. So it's I think it's about a cavalry troop in the Old West. Definitely very interesting to me, and so I thought I would grab this. There's enough in this series. I think I might not hold out until I find the first one. I might just go ahead and give this one a shot whenever I can, unless I happen to come across an earlier one. Who knows? All right, that's all I picked up from local used bookstores. And next up is Thrift Store and eBay. So one second, be right back. All right, last up, guys, last pile. Try to get through this kind of quickly here. This is a trip I made to a thrift store. Only got to one thrift store, and they didn't have a ton. I got a couple of things. There's an author that I think everybody knows, but I've never read, and that's probably kind of chips away at some of my vintage paperback cred, and that is Roger Zelazny. And but I did come across this one. This is Isle of the Dead. It's not in the best shape. It's kind of falling apart there, but and ratty cover and everything. This is an Ace Fantasy paperback. Yeah, so I haven't read anything by Zelazny. I suppose this might be a good place to start, so grabbed it. We'll see how it goes. I'm sure I'll enjoy it just based on what everybody else is talking about. And then came across another long arm book. This is number 50 in the Big Bend. Again, I've read long arm number 1, thought it was okay. I have, I don't know, 6 or 7 more long arm books in addition to this one, so this will just get added to the pile and read when I can. And then that's next and last are the things that I picked up off of eBay. And this next one is by a guy named Robin Wayne Bailey. And I have read one of his books. I've read Frost, which was the first in a series. And I just, no, couldn't do it. That was a horrible book, in my opinion. So much so that I wasn't even going to entertain the idea of moving on to the other books in the series. But he's written a number of things that just seem, just the premise of these stories that he's written are things I would definitely want to check out. So maybe he's improved over time. I don't know. But I did come across this one, Night Watch. And this is published by TSR. And it is a Greyhawk novel, which D&D Greyhawk is my favorite setting. And I don't know, I couldn't not. So I'll give it a try. We'll see how it goes. I don't know if I'm going to prioritize this very high, but I definitely want to and read it and hope that I enjoy it much more so than the Frost book. This next one I saw on one of Paperback Warriors walkthroughs. This is Robert Tynes' Broken Eagle. And this is about a B-52 that crashes in Siberia, and then it essentially becomes a story of survival, Cold War story of survival, as this crew tries to escape. And I love my Cold War thrillers, so was very intrigued when I saw this cover on his video and decided to pick it up. Another Western series that I had seen. This might have been Book Graveyard. Yeah, it might have been. Not sure. This is Cole Weston's Rider series. This is number 1, Buffalo Gal. So going to give this a shot and see how that goes. This one I definitely saw on Paperback Warrior. This is the start of a series. Again, an author I've never heard of, and a series I'm surprised I never heard of. This is James Farrow's Going Deep, the first in the Hog series, and that's about an A-10 unit in Operation Desert Storm, which, of course, the subject matter is I have a very personal connection with. So as soon as I saw this, I'm like, yep, gotta have it. So found this for cheap, and this is a priority series for 2025. Another priority series for 2025, I was at a library sale in another town. Came across the second book in this series by an author that I'd not heard of, a series I'd not heard of, obviously. Wasn't too sure about it, so put it back like an idiot, and came home, looked up the series, and thought, what I'm talking about is Luke Scull's The Grimm Company series, and this is the first book, The Grimm Company, and this is kind of a David Gemmell sort of fantasy, militaristic fantasy novel series, which is right up my alley. This is on that Rock publisher, so some bonus points for that. So this is a number 1 priority series for 2025. I will be hitting this one up very soon. Another series I kind of neglected some of the sci-fi in my readings. So one of the things I wanted to do was start a new sci-fi series. I'd finished Brian Stableford's Hooded Swan series late last year and hadn't really gotten back into sci-fi since then. So I decided to go with Lee Brackett's The Ginger Star series, and this is number 1, The Ginger Star. I haven't read anything by Lee Brackett, but it just was one of those that came up early on the randomizer of the books I got laying around, so give this one a try. Priority for 2025. And last, and certainly not least, this is the first Ace double that I ever have had, and this is Jeremy Strike's A Promising Planet with John Rackham's Flower of Doradil. And the reason I picked this up is another one of my little reading projects is to read as much as I can of speculative fiction that was published in 1970. Both of these books, or this, whatever the hell this is, was published in 1970. So I'm going to give priority to getting both of these out of the way soon in 2025, and moving on with that collection as well. All right, guys, this has been a lot longer than I expected it to be. Like I said, it was a huge haul, so I appreciate you. If you stuck through this, props to you. And I will hopefully start being a little bit more proactive and prolific with the videos as time goes by. So hope to see you again soon. Hope to hear from you in the comments. And till next time, have a good one.